I've spent most of my life chasing things no one asked me to chase. Not because anyone forced me to, not because I was pushed, threatened, or measured by someone at home. My mom never really pressured me into anything. Not school, not grades, not awards. If anything, she was the one person who never imposed her own expectations of me. And somehow, that made me expect almost everything of myself. I wanted to achieve for her. I wanted to repay a debt she never asked me to owe. But somewhere along the way, the more things I tried to do for her, the more I started to lose myself. This motivation that began as love slowly turned into an obligation, and then into pressure, and then to identity. Researchers at universities of King's College London and the University of Sydney have been looking at a term called performance saturation. Performance saturation is when you reach a point in your achievements where they start losing meaning and keep adding more weight. There's also a similar term, a related pattern, called maladaptive perfectionism. It's when the pressure doesn't come from your peers, society, family, but from the voice inside your own head. You set high expectations, high standards, and when you don't meet them, you punish yourself for being human. And that's dangerous because it doesn't yell, it whispers, do more, be more, don't slow down. For years, I've listened to that whisper until it became the loudest voice in my life. At school, my life started to feel like I was juggling without hands. Stuco, Interact, Media, Canva, freelance, competitions outside, online courses, studying, all at once. Every week on top of another, every commitment layered. From the outside, I looked motivated, capable, impressive. People would say, wow, you're doing so much. And I am doing so much. Inside, I was exhausted. I wanted to disappear, sleep for a while. But I kept going anyway, because pressure doesn't scream, it's whispering. And when you're praised for listening to it, these whispers start to become truths. Now, imagine a familiar scenario. Have you ever worked on a group project, but ended up doing almost everything yourself? That's what happened to me. This pressure carried me through a competition that was supposed to be of teamwork. Somehow, along the way, I ended up doing almost everything myself. Now, you could ask me, why didn't I ask my peers for help? Well, I didn't want to risk imperfection. When we succeeded later on, people praised me, called me capable, called me reliable. But truth is, perfection is just the mask you wear when you're exhausted. Now, this wasn't the first time either. Years earlier, I had won a public speaking competition. Teachers clapped, my peers complimented me. I went back home and handed the iPad that I had won to my little brother and felt nothing. No pride, no excitement, just quiet emptiness. The joy disappeared instantly as my brother's smile painted the scene. But that's what burnout does. It drains colors from moments that are supposed to shine. When things get heavy, I sit at home with my two cats. The white one's Everest, and the gray one's Fuji. Animals don't expect anything of you. They don't know my GPA, and they don't ask me how productive I was, or what I've accomplished that day. And yet, they just exist, and they let me exist with them. But even in that quiet, comparison sneaks in. Why is he so good at calculus, and why does she seem so sure of who she is? And why does everyone think they're running forward, but maybe they're standing still? Or why does everyone think I'm running forward, but I'm standing still? Comparison is a thief, but we're the ones who forget to lock the doors. Now, there's an elderly groundskeeper at my school. He'd always stop by and ask, "How are you?" in a way that felt sincerer than any other congratulatory speech I've heard. He doesn't know my grades, extracurriculars, but yet, somehow, his words remind me that meaning doesn't always come from recognition. Sometimes, it comes from the small things. Like showing up when it mattered and helping someone with their college applications. And yes, failing too, especially in leadership. I couldn't control 60 people in my senior class. I made mistakes and turned problems into even bigger problems instead of solutions. But nonetheless, during our senior fundraiser, we're planning our senior trip. But I actually came up short more times than I'd like to admit. These experiences are what shape us, more than a certificate ever could. Life started to feel like a buffet, everything laid out in front of you, and everyone says, take more. And you do, because you can, because you should, because everyone else is. But halfway through, you're not satisfied. You're just full, heavy, overwhelmed, uncomfortable. And you realized what you needed wasn't to take more food, but it was water. This is why one of my dreams might surprise most people. I want a strawberry farm. Not because strawberries are perfect, but because they're not. Some are crooked, some grow bruised. Some are flawed on the outside, but once you bite into it, it's sweet, sour, soft. Most importantly, strawberries don't rush. They grow when conditions are right. They need rest, seasons, water. They remind me of people, simple, rooted, honest, fulfilling, and not impressive. I've spent years chasing my true passions: AI and healthcare, biomedical engineering, neuroscience, journalism, literature, perhaps even scrolling. And I wondered if I ever truly loved all of them, or if I was just chasing validation that didn't exist in these achievements. But then I remember being 7 years old, sitting in the doctor's office as he scanned my thumbprint, analyzed the results. He had told me that I had the potential to speak 7 languages. Now, looking back, I didn't know what that meant, but now that was one of the first times anyone has ever told me that I had potential. And I held on to that, the feeling, not the number. Research on performance saturation suggests that people recover not by doing less forever, but by reconnecting with intrinsic motivation, doing certain activities that feel meaningful to yourself instead of those that just look impressive. Combating maladaptive perfectionism at the same time means that you're setting limits, letting good enough be enough. So separate that self-worth from the output and replace that whisper with a soft and quieter voice. So now what? Now I'm beginning to pause, to ask myself before I say yes, does this feed me or does it just fill me? Water is purpose. Water is rest. Water is peace. Water is the cats who ask for nothing. Water is remembering your 7-year-old self. And water is believing in your story even when it doesn't come with applause. So, before you take more, ask yourself, does this feed you or does it just fill you? Thank you.